police permit. I'm actually code slash an officer. It's a new thing that we're going to start doing. And like I said, it's just a new thing we're going to start doing. Okay, so my code enforcement duties. So I deal with weeds, junk vehicles, people living in RVs, pretty much parking violations. I have a whole spectrum of things I actually deal with as a code enforcement officer as well. So.
Wandering dogs.
Yep, that's a good one.
There's a lot of that lately, it seems like.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, there's
it's almost like you just shop for your own dog right now.
right now there's only one code officer, so I'm the only code officer that's working the streets. So I'm kind of spread a little thin. From what I was understanding, next week we might possibly have a new code officer that starts. So.
Good. So there'll be two.
Yes, ma'am.
So you'll be spread a little bit thinner because you'll also be training.
Yep. So junk vehicle violations. So junk vehicle violations are primarily flat tires, vehicles that are abandoned, vehicles that the tags are expire, stuff like that. Weeds violations, of course, as everyone's seeing, the weeds that are out in the community. We deal with those because of to prevent crime, I guess you could say. There's multiple ways to prevent crime. With weed violations, we can actually prevent from fire starting in the community, like of course the homeless community we have that's kind of starting to grow a little bit more in the community. Another reason that we deal with weeds is for if people decide to try committing a crime, that's a good place for them to hide. So
is it true that you cannot give a ticket unless somebody has complained?
nope, that's not true. So right now, from the higher ups, I have to give a citation from
If you just drive by a place?
yes, ma'am. So we started that because all the warnings we've been giving out, it hasn't been working, so we're trying a new method to try getting the community cleaned up and stuff. Waste of water violations, so pretty much when we're under water restrictions, I deal with the water violations as well, which of course is a citation or educational depending on the situation. Sometimes it's educational because most people don't realize we're under a water restriction. So, of course, dog at large. I actually dealt with a few of those today. Of course, since there's only one of me right now, I do appreciate people calling in dog at large. I can't be everywhere at once, like I've been explaining to everyone. There's only one of me. I have the whole city to deal with. Dog bite cases. Sometimes they can turn into something bigger than dog bite cases. They can become a really big criminal case with vicious dog. Of course, the vicious dog, the 10-day quarantine and all that stuff put together. So, and if anyone has questions, don't hesitate on asking.
Do you know how many calls on the average that you get?
Depends. So, are you talking about self-initiated or?
I mean, just calls in general, because I know you're spread so thin and.
So, today, I had at least 15 by myself.
He averages about 15, 20 calls a day. And not just dogs at large, but
That's
weed
everything.
complaints, trash complaints,
Yeah.
junk vehicles.
So that's you initiating some of them and then also your calls?
Yeah.
So if somebody parks a car on the street with a cover over it for months and months and months, is that a,
That's actually a junk vehicle violation. The vehicle actually has to be parked on their property, covered up, or so there's multiple ways to fix that violation. You could either get the tags renewed, fix the tire if it's flat, or have it covered up on your property. I've been dealing with that quite a bit too.
While you're on that subject, can you keep them on your property indefinitely,
What you
covered up? Because there's some people, I mean, you drive around town,
Yeah.
and I know we all see it, and there's several properties that just maybe even have multiple cars sitting there covered up, and it just looks like such life. I mean, is there any teeth in anything to make them eventually get some of these moved out of there, or, I mean, even though they're on private property?
No.
No, because
No, because
No.
technically that's their
Yeah.
property, that's their
Even in
property.
the backyard, like say if I just had about 5 junk cars in my backyard, I could have all those in the backyard.
so if they're not visible, like I said, if they're in a fenced off
Yeah.
yard where if they're not visible, you can, or like I was telling you, you could, if you have your tags updated and all that stuff, you can have them in your yard.
Oh, yeah, but 9 times out of 10 they don't.
Yeah.
Tags and insurance, that's why they're there.
Yeah.
They don't run.
I was just curious because I have as a teacher I had in high school, and her yard is beautiful, and she has a patio up top, and then you look over the neighbor's yard, and they have a bunch of cars in the backyard.
Yeah, like I said, as long as they're covered up, as long as they're
But
not
that's good to know.
visible, yeah.
Thank
Graffiti, of course, we deal with graffiti. We give them a 5-day notice or warning to get it cleaned up, and of course, if they don't comply, of course, sometimes it escalates to a ticket or having someone to go over there and deal with it, and of course, letters. Usually, we with weed, graffiti. Mainly weed and graffiti, we send out letters. So Jess and I work together on that. When I go deal with the property, so let's say if it's a weed violation, I go take pictures. I show that there's an actual violation on that property. I go in, talk to Jess, fill out a paper to get a letter sent out to the owner of the property as well.
you. How much is the fine for weeds if they don't take care of it and graffiti?
So for the weeds, it's $50. I can't remember off the top of my head the graffiti.
I think graffiti is also $50.
Do you think that's enough?
No.
Sometimes it doesn't even get them to get fix a violation. Sometimes we have to have the city hire someone to go in and clean up the violation.
And so who pays for that?
The
So
property owner.
yep,
It goes on their taxes, their property taxes.
Okay,
So
that's good.
then if we have to hire a contractor, whatever the contractor charges us, that then goes on their property taxes.
And so what do you think would be a good fee for those?
That's hard to say. I think we're behind the times. I think our fees need to increase.
that's where I'm.
Sometimes
and
even
if the fee goes on the taxes, do they have to pay them with the next year's taxes?
Yes.
They cannot just ignore it?
correct.
So maybe you guys can kind of talk at the department what you think would be a good fee and
Right.
let me know.
Okay.
Then what about, is there a graduated scale? Because I know from personal experience, there's a lot of people with multiple
Houses.
issues.
Right.
Does it graduate as you continue to get citation after citation after
Nope.
citation?
It does
It's
But that would be nice to have.
There's
it-
another
that
one you can
would-
add to your list.
What is that?
You get a ticket and you're a repeat offender
So
and you don't take care of that.
Yeah, and
The-
the only one that it does do that is with a dog violation.
Okay.
Oh.
So you get a ticket if you don't take care of it.
So it all depends on the actual code officer. If a code officer wants to, they could actually give you a citation for one weed in the yard. But most of us work in the kind of gray area.
That's a strict code of.
But that
It's
most-
at least what,
yeah.
6 inches or higher.
Yeah.
I know that there's like a specific amount. I don't know the exact. It's been a while since I've done code,
Mhm.
but I know if they want to get that technical,
They could.
they just take a ruler and be
Yeah.
like, okay, this is a weed violation. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
because I saw some today and I'm like, it didn't look like it would take much to do it,
Mhm.
but it looked like it could be a weed violation. And then I've seen others and I'm like, this is out of control.
Yeah. I've been hitting those mainly because I've transferred. I came back to code enforcement about 3 weeks ago, so I'm trying to catch up on everything, trying to
I
get
know
everything
you
all
have your
set up.
plate
So
full,
Have
there's
you-
nothing on you.
Have you hit it between 5th and 6th on Cimarron?
I've hit a few houses there.
The middle block on
Yeah.
the east side?
Yeah,
Back there.
I actually started kind of a little bit further back, so I started on the edges of the town, and I'm trying to work my way towards the middle.
Okay, stay away from the 6th Street, but do everything else.
Okay, don't go to 1020 or.
So what if you issue a ticket for weeds, and do you have to personally hand the ticket to the homeowner or home occupant?
So usually we do. So like I said, we send letters out to the homeowners, and if the renter is the one that's responsible for the property, we give it to renter and stuff. So I try as much as I can to serve the citation straight up.
And then a letter comes following that?
So the renter gets that, but the property owners never know about it, because
Uh,
then if they don't pay it,
That's the thing. So when we start finding out that the property is being rented, usually we work together and try figuring out if it doesn't get fixed with the person that's renting, we'll go to the property owner.
oh, okay.
So
Required to go to municipal court if they get a ticket?
yes, you could. So with the weed violations, how we've been dealing with it now lately, I write the citation. I put the fines on the citation. They could either go pay the fines, or they can go to the judge, and if they have the violation fixed, they actually can present the pictures of the violation being fixed. And from what I've been understanding from talking to the court clerk and stuff, some of them have been dropped because the violation's been fixed.
But it wouldn't happen unless they had gone to municipal
Yes.
court then.
And what do we do to help like disabled people or seniors that can't do it?
That's a good question. I've been hearing that there's a group that would be willing to help. They kind of want to. They wanted me to try figuring out which people would need the help, so I could try.
It's like Lieutenant
Bringing
Cares
them-
or something
yes.
like that.
Well, do you know who's in that?
I don't, but there's pamphlets at the city building.
Okay,
That we
I'll
have.
get,
I know Stacy helps run it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of pamphlets I know.
who's Stacy?
I can't remember her last name, but she used to work at CVS.
Okay, I'll get a pamphlet the next time I'm there.
Of course, I kind of went over some of these.
We're really making you work.
Of course, another way that you could fix it is putting it in an enclosed garage, or
So if it has a current license plate on it, it's not considered a junk vehicle?
no, ma'am. As long as the vehicle doesn't have any flat tires, doesn't have anything that makes it look like it's not a vehicle that's working, it wouldn't be considered a junk vehicle.
Unless we know it's not working.
Yep.
We
Yep.
would not. It's crazy how people admit it's broken.
Yeah, there's
My
a,
car does not run, and the tires are fine. If tires are well, if it doesn't run, you just admitted it's a junk vehicle that needs to be off the street.
Now,
I've gotten a few of those.
if you notice it sitting for long periods of time, do you ever mark tires and see if the tires have moved, or do you follow up that closely or anything, if it has a valid license on it?
I have not personally.
I know you have enough to do just trying to keep up with the ones that aren't, I'm just asking.
When you get that second one,
I don't know.
you have a lot of work.
Yep. we have a lot of catching up to do before winter, so
I know.
to try keeping the streets at least clear from the junk vehicles and
Right.
weeds, so they don't clog up the.
I can't imagine a snowplow trying to get through, you know.
Yeah.
What about like RVs or camper trailers? How long can they be on?
So, they can only be on the street for 48 hours.
Whoa.
So, after 48 hours, they have to be moved to a storage facility. So, I've been dealing with that quite a bit this week as well. I tagged three RVs that people had parked on the street, and I gave them 48 hours. That means that they'd have to be off the road. They have to be put in a actual storage area, so either in a garage or someplace that it's not on the street, someplace that you can actually store it. And of course, driveways and in their yard is a proper place to store it.
Okay.
They can leave them on a driveway.
Yeah, they can. The compliance, of course, the garage, covering up the vehicle with a fitted cover. That's what most people don't understand is it's required by the ordinance to be a fitted cover. Or getting the tags updated. And of course, on the streets, even on property, I can actually go on and give junk vehicle violations for vehicles that are parked in the driveway or something. I can actually go do that. It just opens up a bigger, I guess you could say, scope. With that, I would have to, if they don't comply, I would have to get a warrant and stuff set up for.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask
Yep.
about the warrant. So you don't need a warrant anymore to go on the property and tag it? So they changed that? Okay, just to remove it.
And once the tag goes on for removal, how long do they have to remove? I mean, once those orange tags go on?
So for a junk vehicle, it's 15 days.
15?
They have 15 days to comply with the junk vehicle violation, and once if they don't comply with it, of course we'll go in, and if it's on private property, we'll have to get a warrant to go onto the property to move the vehicle. And if it's on the streets, I don't have to do that. I could get it towed.
So you actually can go on somebody's, if the junk vehicle's parked up by the front step and it's not tagged or anything, you can give them a ticket to get it moved?
Yeah, I can put a 15-day warning on it.
I've been seeing a lot more of those. You're doing a good job.
So.
So what else can constitute like a junk vehicle other than just like a flat tire and expired tags? Could it be like smashed windows or
Yeah.
like
It could be pretty much.
the trash bags like over the windows type of thing?
Yeah. It covers a broad spectrum. Pretty much, as long as it's not, or if it's a vehicle that can actually be moved, that is street legal, that would be a non-junk vehicle. If it's missing any of the components for it to actually be a movable vehicle, it would be considered a junk vehicle. So. Of course, kind of went over this. Weed and litter. Weed and litter is in the same ordinance. So, owner to maintain premises is our coverall for litter and weeds. So if there's litter in the yard, that's the actual citation you would receive.
So would that be, the litter be considered like the people that are hoarding and have all their litter outside?
Yeah, we've been dealing with a few of those as well. I've been dealing with a few of those. I've been dealing with a few businesses that started having that exact problem.
So then on the ones that are that way too, then if they don't take care of it, then somebody will come in and take care of it and then it goes to their property taxes?
So with that, it gets a little sketchy. Usually we get the city attorney involved in that. They're the ones that kind of.
So it's a process.
Yes, it's a big process.
Yeah, if you want more information on that, Mr. Belloff went into detail on the city forum the other night,
Oh,
and that's on Facebook Live.
okay, yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch that.
No, that,
Mr. Mala, Phil Mala, he went into further detail on one man's trash is another man's treasure. So,
of course, the compliance for the weeds is 7 days. So, what we were doing before was giving a 7-day warning before going back and checking the property, making sure it was dealt with. If it wasn't dealt with, we'd issue a citation and send out a letter, get everything rolling so the city could start cleaning up the property.
So
But-
is this one the weed $100?
Yeah, that's just what I was wondering.
I don't.
Penalty for non-compliance
It
is
says it
$100.
right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I really haven't had a chance to mess with the PowerPoint too much
Oh,
because
okay.
I've been so busy. So, but it is $50.
Oh, okay, so that's.
Yeah, it's.
Darn it.
I wish it was 100 because it probably kind of give people a little bit more
Okay.
motivation to
Yeah.
kind of go into it.
Good to know.
Wastewater, of course, leaking water. I deal with all that. If, of course, the water, the gutter system is locked, usually all of us kind of work on that. The regular officers and myself work on letting the city department know so they can get the stuff cleared up. And so, and that's it.
Who is the city judge? Who's the municipal court judge?
Judge Manley.
Oh, he is?
Manly.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You came at the meeting.
Huh?
Weren't you at the last meeting and it was Judge Manley? No.
Oh, well, I guess I didn't hear. I missed that part.
I have one more question, kind
Yes,
of,
ma'am.
I don't know if it's code or ordinance. What governs things growing in the parking areas?
So in parking lots.
No, in parking areas, like
What's growing?
each street, you have the street and the sidewalk and you have the parking area
Mhm.
between the street and the sidewalk.
Mhm.
Is that code or is that ordinance or?
You mean like weeds growing out
Yeah,
of the
sure.
street?
Yeah, that'd be. So
I think they're.
You-
Sorry, I'm not a.
usually what we do is I let the street department know. They go and check it out. They're the ones that usually deal with the street.
And then
side
what
part.
about medians? Like say big bushes growing in medians you can't see around.
So with that, I've been helping engineering.
That's an engineering
Yeah,
issue.
it's engineering is the one that actually kind of helps with that. They recently told me if I remember it, 15 feet from the alleyway, and it's 20 feet from the actual corner of the road where it actually needs to be cleared. So it's called the right of way, view right of way. So we're actually starting to work on that before.
Because I know I actually went to city council
I still have your pictures.
a while back and complained about the bushes that grow close to intersections. Because if you're driving a standard sized car, your view is completely blocked, and there's one that's just horrible. And it's over by where you're headed to West School, and it's on 5th and Belmont, I believe it is.
It always is like that.
And it's big evergreen bushes, and I mean to tell you, I'm gonna take a friend with me. The next time I go to council, I will have photos showing how far in the street you have to be
It's like Russian
Just-
roulette.
to see traffic
Yeah,
there.
like I said, we're starting to work on that, trying to get that stuff.
Close your eyes and
Cleaned
hit the
up,
gas.
so-
I close my eyes and I hit the gas.
Yeah,
But I have
it's been a growing problem.
I have called in about that before, and then they get it trimmed, and then it grows. Probably because of all the rain too.
Yeah,
I
that's
just wondered, I mean, if there was an actual ordinance that said it can't be more than 28 inches high. Because I know at one point when you're building things close to the street,
Mhm.
like your driveways and stuff, you can't have a fence or anything that's more than 28 inches.
yeah. There's an actual ordinance for that.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. And how do we get a copy of the ordinance?
With
Thing
that-
online anywhere?
You can go on, you can just Google Lahana Municipal Code.
Oh, and they're on there?
Mhm.
Well, I will be doing that.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you touch or do you deal with the squatters?
That's a law enforcement. That's
Yeah, it's
criminal.
it's a criminal. It's would be considered trespassing.
Okay.
But then they also have rights too.
Okay.
To a certain
I know.
point, Which is
They have
which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
Cars parking in yards. So, I've actually been doing a little bit more research on that. I came onto an ordinance that you cannot park in a grass area.
And if you don't have grass,
And if you do,
That one, I haven't run into anything that really states that you can't. But like I said, if it's in the grass, I do know that section. Like I said, I haven't run into one that goes on to that.
that goes on the grass.
Well, off the grass, like on a dirt or anything like that. I know usually they want you to put rock or something so you can park on it. Which,
So it's okay if you have rock under it?
any more questions?
All good questions.
Yeah, they
They're
are
all very good.
really good questions.
Yes.